Hello everybody, it's Bacon Donut here, back with another Sky Factory tutorial. Yes! Sky Factory is a mod pack that I made, and if you want to know more about it and how to get it, go back and watch episode 1. And today, we are going to start into my favorite mod of all time, and that is Applied Energistics. If you don't know what that mod is, you're gonna fall in love with it. Trust me, it's my favorite mod of all time and it's amazing. So we're gonna make an AE system today. I'm also going to teach you how to use this force wrench that I'm holding in my hand. It's my favorite tool in Sky Factory. And we're going to complete a challenge as well. So first, let me show you what I've built. If you remember last time, we went to the Nether and we built a power system. Well, a fuel system. We built a contraption that generates lava for us and ender tanks to send it back home again. And if you look over here where I had the engines, they're not here anymore. I've cleaned all this up. I've moved them downstairs. So we have this floor right here. So there's the ink farm like before. And here is an AE system. Oh, it's beautiful. But we'll get to that in a minute. And there's another floor downstairs, and this is where I put the engines. Again, same concept as what I showed you last week, just on a larger scale. We've got this circle of 4 engines, and it's 8 layers deep. And I did it twice, and each one of these produces 8 RF. That's the power unit we're dealing with, RF. 80 RF per tick. You can just do the math on all of these and be able to calculate exactly how much power you have per tick coming through. And this is certainly more power than I need right now, but later, for some of the later challenges, especially tier 3, you need massive amounts of power to complete some of those. So we've got an ender tank here that's receiving the lava, and then I've got a fluid conduit on top of this, and there's an energy conduit in there also. So the fluid conduit's taking the lava into the generators, and the energy conduit is basically pulling the power out of it, and the energy conduit comes out the back of both of these, meets up here, and then goes upstairs, and you can see it there connecting to the bottom of the machines. And now this conduit is stuff that we haven't covered yet. It's from the mod Ender.io, and I'm not going to get too much into the conduit today because I plan on doing a whole episode just about Ender.io. But for now, if you want to know what pipe to use for this stuff at this point in your game, we already showed you the fluid duct. The opaque fluid duct is really cheap, just copper and lead, and that'll move the lava around. And if you search for energy, you can find the leadstone energy conduit here, also pretty cheap. Redstone, lead, glass, and that will get you an energy conduit. Now, here's the thing though. Remember I said that each of those engines is 80 RF per tick. If you hit shift, if you're looking at the energy conduit here and you hit shift, it tells you how much power that conduit can move. And this leadstone energy conduit, the cheap one, can only move 80 RF per tick, which means if you have one engine and one conduit, you're at maximum capacity. That's the most power you can pump through that cable. So if you add more generators to it, you're not going to get any benefit from it if that's the conduit you use. You have to go up to the next one, the hardened energy conduit, which bumps up to 400 RF, but is more expensive to make. It takes Invar, which that's kind of a different video, you know. And the same thing with the energy conduit. Wait, look that up again. This one here, this is what I'm using in my design behind me here, but this is Ender.io stuff and uses machines that we haven't covered. So we'll get to that in later videos. For now, you might want to just stick with the leadstone energy conduit, or just be brave and dive into Ender.io without me. It's okay. You've kind of got the hang of these mods, right? Go out on your own and learn. It's okay. Or you can just wait for me to make the video. That's fine too. Anyway, the point is we've got the engine set up and it's sending power upstairs, and now we can actually power stuff. But before I show you how to make this thing, let me show you what it does and why you should be interested in making it. Okay, so this thing, the ME Crafting Terminal, this is like a chest and a crafting table combined, but not just a chest, every chest. all the things. So check this out. All this stuff in my inventory, I'm gonna just dump this in here and it stores it. But wait, let's go get more stuff. Let's go upstairs here and get the stuff out of there. And put that in there. Boom. And go back. We'll do this one more time. One of these have a bunch of stuff. And I guess this one does. That and maybe some of these. How about this one? There we go. That's a full inventory worth of stuff. And boom. Okay. So this just stores all the stuff. And there is limits. It's what you're basically doing is storing your items on hard drives. That's what these ME drives are for. So if you open this up, it kind of models after like real life data centers with servers and computers and stuff. And so this is like a hard drive storage array. And each one of those disks actually contains some of your items that you've put in here. And this crafting terminal is just like, it's like, imagine a data center filled with computers and there's like one monitor and a keyboard in the room, and that lets you access all the servers, right? That's what this is, if you've ever seen anything like that. Anyway, so all these items are stored in here, and it gives you a search box. So if you're looking for your swords, there we go. There's just the swords, or the cobblestone related stuff. How cool is that? That's just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more about Applied Energistics. It not only is it the most amazing storage thing, but it also lets you automate stuff, automatic crafting for you, as well as input it. Like you can hook it up to machines and have it cook stuff for you automatically, all that sort of stuff. It goes on and on. It's amazing stuff. This is not a full-blown AE tutorial right now. We're just starting it. So we've got all the stuff here. Now there's this crafting table portion of it. So if let's say, for example, we've got 4 cobblestone walls. Let's say we wanted more of those. So let's take some cobble, just like that, and there's the recipe. So that's exactly how a crafting table works. But what would normally happen if I were to shift click this, it would normally put 6 in my bar, right? But what it's going to do, it's going to pull from the inventory in here to complete the craft. So if I hit shift, I'm going to get a full stack of those. Boom! I just got 60 of them instead of just 6 because it pulled from this cobble here to replenish this as it ran out. How amazing is that? It's pretty darn amazing. And like I said, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So we have the crafting terminal, we have the ME drive here that has the actual hard drives that your stuff is stored on. Each one of these is an ME 1K storage. So let me show you that. ME, actually, let's just look up storage. And you can see all those drives here, right here. So there's a 1K storage, 16K, 64K, and a 4K. The way these hard drives work, you can see it says 114 bytes out of 1024 and 10 out of 63 types. So let me explain this. The bytes is how much, like the quantity of items that it can store, and one item equals 1 byte. Right? So there's 114 items stored on this particular hard drive, and it also has a limit to how many total different item types it can store. Each drive can only store 63 types max, even if it's just one. So one item of 63 different items, that hard drive would be full. Even though it's only it's like less than a stack of things total, but you would run out of types and not be able to store anything. Or you can store 1024 of a single kind. You could do it that way as well. And because of that, in the early game, you tend to run out of types faster than you run out of bytes on these drives, because you know, you have a wide variety of stuff, all the dusts, all the various blocks, and all the random stuff from the mob farm, and all that stuff adds up together to a lot of types. And so the 1K drive doesn't have a huge amount of maximum storage, but it's the cheapest drive that you can make. And since you run out of types first in the early game, what I recommend is just making 1K storage to begin with. That will probably hold you over, and you should be able to put everything you own into here, and just don't store the massive stuff like the cobblestone coming out of a cobble gen. You by now, if you've been doing this in the order of these videos, you should have millions of cobble by now. You don't want to put that in your ME system just like that. But there's actually a way to connect this deep storage unit to the AE system, and I'll show you that in a minute. But the third thing that's going on here is this controller. The ME controller is like the brain of the network that you're going to make with your ME stuff. This thing is what receives the power. So it has to, so the conduit, the energy cable coming in has to touch this. And then after that is powered, it shares power with all touching devices. So if I have ME stuff, like if I were to make a whole bunch of these ME drives and just, here, let's do it like this, right? If I were to do that, all of them, see these ones in the end here don't have power right now, but they're all touching. Because it all is touching the controller side by side, it means they're all receiving power and all on the network and can talk to each other. So I could fill all those up with drives and it would work. And so again, the power goes into the controller, and it shows you here, if you right click on it, it's got several different power units. I recommend the MJs. It tells you how much per tick it's using. 4.2 MJ, and basically you need to move 1 decimal place to convert MJ into RF. So I know this might be confusing if you've never done this before, but basically the reason that I'm bringing this up is that sometimes if you don't have a ton of power available, this will start running out of power. And if it runs out of power, then suddenly you won't be able to access your items. And that's a problem, right? You don't want to do that. So you need to be aware of how much power you're using and how to make sure that you're okay. So remember, I told you these generators are producing RF, 80 RF per tick. So you just move 1 0 place to convert it from RF to MJ. So 80 RF is 8 MJ. I know it's a lot of terms, I'm sorry, but that's it. So 80 RF, 8 MJ. So each one of these is 8 MJ. And so if you're trying to figure out how much power this guy needs, this would all be easier if this version of AE had a tab here for RF, but it doesn't. MJ is the closest. So you can see here, it's using 4.2 MJ per tick. That means it's 42 RF per tick, which means a little more than half of one of those lava generators would be enough to power this ME network right now. And every additional thing you add, every piece of this that you add to the network is going to increase the power use. See, now it's up to 4.6. If I add several of these to the network, now it's up to 6.2. So once that got up to 8, just slap several up here. Now we're up to 9 MJ. That means that's more than what one of these engines, that's officially more than what one engine could do, and you'd need 2 of them. Make sense? I hope that makes sense. Let's clear out our mess here. So anyway, early game, I recommend that you just start with 1K drives, and then later when you can afford it, you can make the larger drives. Like I said, there's a 4K, a 16, and a 64 that can each store larger and larger pieces. So let me show you the recipes. The controller is required piece. You have to have that controller right here. So yeah, Fluix crystals, ME advanced processors, and iron. So let's dive into some of this. Certus quartz, you should have been getting that out of the sieve, right? So sifting sand will get you the Certus quartz. Nether quartz, we've covered that before too, I believe. Let's teach you how to make soul sand. It's not hard. We go back to the wooden barrels, and let me see if there's a good place to do this. Wait, spores, right here. Ancient spores and dirt, boom, and we're going to need a barrel right there. And let's grab a bucket of water. And let me show this. Okay, so we're going to make a little square of dirt right here, like so. And we're going to put a barrel there, and we're going to put water in the barrel. Okay, with me so far? That's all super easy to make. These ancient spores drop from sifting sand. So occasionally when you sift sand, you're going to get an ancient spore, okay? And a 1% drop. So if we take that and put that on the dirt, did you see what happened? We got mycelium. That turned into mycelium. Let's get some more of these. Right there. And you can see the barrel here. Can you see this changing color? It's making witch water, and there's a percentage up there. It's turning the water into witch water because there's mycelium here. So the mycelium will eventually spread, or if I had grabbed more of the spores, I could spread them around. And boom, now this is 100% witch water. Now, another thing is this will get you mushrooms as well. The mycelium next to the witch water just magically, it just makes mushrooms. Mushrooms will suddenly start to pop up on these squares because of the witch water. Another property of the witch water is that this can convert certain monsters into nether equivalents. Like, what if you wanted wither skeletons, but you didn't want to go to the nether? If you take this witch water and you put it in your mob farm, the monsters, like normal skeletons, would turn into wither skeletons. And it has that sort of effect on several other monsters too. It turns them into more severe versions of the same thing. So now all you need, now that we have the witch water here, we just take a piece of sand, right click in there, and boom, we just turned... We went water to witch water to soul sand, and you just right click and there you have a soul sand. Perfect. And I probably should have showed you this earlier. I didn't even think of it until we tried to make an AE system. And you can automate this whole process with pipes. Like if you're piping water into this, you can pipe water into the barrel automatically and then use a autonomous activator, one of these guys, to right click the soul sand and collect it. So you can absolutely automate that and farm it. And then you get the soul sand, start sifting it. That will get you the nether quartz. Whew. Wow, what a distraction. Okay, so getting back to the recipe here, you have to start with the ME controller. Right here. And so you need fluix crystals, which is just Certus quartz, again sifting sand, nether quartz, sifting soul sand, and redstone, which is from sifting dust. So that's all easy to get the fluix dust. Iron, of course, you know. That brings us to the ME advanced processor. You're going to need a new tool for this. And that is this quartz cutting knife, easy to make, 2 sticks, a piece of iron, and 2 nether quartz or Certus quartz, either one will get you the cutting knife. And then you take a cutting knife with a diamond, 2 pieces of redstone, and a silicone. So how do you make silicone? So remember, I mentioned to you the Certus quartz. Did we ever make a grindstone? No, we didn't. Okay, all right. I'm with it. So looking back here. Okay, so the silicon comes from Certus quartz dust. Now I showed you how to get the Certus quartz, but how do you turn it into dust? You can also dust up nether quartz, but again, how do you make the dust? There is 2 pretty easy ways to do that, and one is a grindstone. That's the real cheap way. The grindstone is, oh, you wouldn't get the dust. Ah, right. Never mind. Oh my gosh, I'm a nubcake. You're better off getting it from dust. Yeah, the Certus quartz dust. I forgot all about it. The Certus quartz dust comes from the dust. The Certus quartz crystals comes from the sand. Perfect. Okay. And once you get some of this dust, you can make a grindstone. And that will let you can put the quartz crystals into it and then grind it into the dust manually if you don't have enough. Let me show you that. Hit control, here's a grinder, boom, and you need a crank, just this guy, and the recipe for that is just 5 sticks. It's super easy. So you put the grinder down. This is like a manual way to process stuff. And let's get some quartz. We'll get some nether quartz and some quartz crystals. Boom, like that. And you see this interface. This is where you put stuff that's going to be ground up. That's the piece that it's currently working on, and that is the thing turned into dust. So if I put a quartz in there, punch this stick, stick punch hype, it spins round and round, and boom, like it briefly, here I'll show you. Once you grind it the first time, it puts it in the center place here, and then grind it a few times, and it kicks out over there. Pretty sweet. So now we have 3 dust, and you can do the same thing with the nether quartz if you want to get nether quartz dust. Boom, just like that. Nether quartz dust. There we go. Okay, and so then you take this stuff and cook it in a furnace to get the silicon. So looking up the controller again, this thing is what we were working on. So yeah, here it is. So you take that dust, cook it, get the silicon, craft that together with the cutting knife, diamond, redstone, and you get this advanced processor assembly. Cook that in a furnace to get the advanced processor, and then you craft that with the 4 fluix crystals, iron, and you get an ME controller. It's not as complicated as it might sound, and it gets pretty easy once you do it once and kind of get your head around it. So that's the controller, the brains of it. Then you need to make the, well, you can do this in any order, but you need all of the pieces before the whole thing works. So ME drive, so let's look that up. Drive, right here. So this is 4 iron, a chest, some glass, and 2 basic processors. This is exactly like the other one, but gold instead of diamond. So cutting knife, redstone, silicone, gold. Cook that. You know, that's what you get as a result of that crafting. Cook that in a furnace, and you get the basic processor, and you need 2 of those to make the drive. Pretty cheap overall. And then let's talk about the crafting terminal. Again, it's not difficult, there's just a lot of steps. Terminal, there's actually an access terminal that's exactly the same as the crafting terminal, but without the crafting table. It's like just this top half. So the crafting terminal is a access terminal with iron, glass, crafting table, and this storage shell. You're going to need to know this storage shell because that's how you make those hard drives. So 1 basic processor, 4 redstone, 4 Certus quartz. Pretty simple to make the storage cell. So you're going to need 1 of these for each of the hard drives that you make. So the storage cell, crafting table, all this stuff, and then the access terminal. How do we make that? For that, we need the conversion matrix and ME cable. ME cable, it's just a big tree of recipes. So hopefully you can see all this yourself by just clicking through it. Fluix dust, that's Certus quartz dust, nether quartz dust, and redstone. Gets you the fluix dust, and put that with glass to get the cable. That gets you the cable. Now the conversion matrix. For that, you take either type of quartz with 2 fluix dust and a basic processor, and you get the matrix. Put that all together, gets you the access terminal, and then craft that together to get the crafting table. Crafting terminal. Whew, man, that was a mouthful. And then, of course, these are filled with the storage drives. Storage. These guys right here. So the storage shell, which I already showed you, is one of those processors. 3 redstone, 2 glass, 3 iron gets the storage shell. Wow, that's a mouthful. So again, it's just a whole lot of crafting operations. But once you're done, it gets a lot faster to craft things, and it gets easier, and it's well worth it to finally have that done. So I should mention too, other ways to dust things. So this is the manual way. Another way is a pulverizer right here from a mod called Thermal Expansion. That's another one that deserves its own video all by itself. But a pulverizer is basically a machine version of what this thing does. And later when you get some actual ores, you can put, like, if you had an iron ore, put an iron ore in here, grind it up, you would get 2 iron dust out of it, and then each one of those iron dust would become its own ingot. So you can double your iron by processing it through the grindstone. Pulverizer does the same thing. You put stuff here, it grinds it up and spits out a dust. And if this was an iron ore, you would get 2 iron ore dust. The second box here, this is a secondary output because some things have a chance of a byproduct, and that will show up here. And when we go through thermal expansion, I'll explain more about stuff like what all these tabs mean and all this sort of stuff, but that deserves its own video. So a pulverizer is another way to get those dusts of things to process. And a third way is the alloy smelter, this thing right here. And it works pretty much exactly the same way as the pulverizer, but it's from Ender IO instead of thermal expansion. So we can put stuff right up here. It doesn't support everything. I think the nether quartz works. Boom, and it's gonna cook and process that and kick out the results. Oh wait, no, I got that backwards. No, the alloy smelter is the furnace of, it's the equivalent of a powered furnace for Ender IO, so that'll get me silicon. What I meant is not the alloy smelter, it's the other Ender IO machine, the sag mill. Sag mill. That's the pulverizer equipment, is the sag mill. Right there, and I'll just set this down here. There we go. Okay, now we can put that in there and it'll get us the dust. All right, so again, thermal expansion, Ender IO, both awesome mods that will get their own videos later, but that pretty much sums that up. All right, so now let's talk about the challenge that we were going to complete today. Force wrench. The force wrench is my favorite tool in all of modded Minecraft. Absolutely love the thing. Let me give you an example of what it does after I toss these things in here. Chest. Oh, no chest in here. Let's get a pickaxe and head upstairs. All right, so the force wrench needs fuel like all no, wrong button, like all force tools, and you can put it in the infuser to fill it up with that. But check out these chests here. So there's a chest here with a bunch of stuff. Normally, if I were to break this chest, it would spill its contents, I believe. Let's just verify that that's true with the diamond chest. Yep, it spilled, where'd it go? I think it messed up because I'm in creative. It spills its contents onto the floor like chests always do. Let's take this force wrench. I'm going to shift right click on the chest and listen. Can you hear that? My sound's kind of low, but it picked up the chest and you can see it says 29 out of 108. So we can move this downstairs and boom, you can see the contents of the chest are still there. Now, the Dartcraft chest that I showed you earlier worked that way by default. That's just how they always work. But the force wrench lets you do that with chests just from vanilla Minecraft. Like this chest, this is a vanilla chest right here with some stuff in it. If we wanted to move this downstairs, boom, boom. Well, they went into the vacuum hopper. But you get the idea. Just wait, where'd the other one go? Ah, something stole my chest. Okay, didn't matter anyway. I wasn't using all this. You get the idea. That is a vanilla chest that's got its stuff stored. I can move it down here too. Boom, and the contents are the same. I love this force wrench. Now, the awesome thing about this is, check this out. Look what I have here. A blaze spawner. What? Blaze spawner? Where did you get that? Probably creative. Well, no, you can go and get these yourself. In fact, you need to in order to complete the challenges. So if we have a spawner here, and of course, wait, there's, hold on, everything's made out of wood. This is a bad idea. Don't put this in your base. If you have a force wrench, shift right click, boom, it picks it up and it actually lets you move spawners. So I'm not going to take the time to do it now because we're out of time on this video, but now I already showed you the Nether and how to find the Nether fortresses. There is a challenge. Ah, wait, no, come here. There is a challenge in here. Where'd it go? Right here. Collect 5 blaze spawners from the Nether. You know, spoiler alert, the fortresses don't have 5 spawners, so you're going to have to find more than 1 to complete that. And that means flying and traveling in the Nether over that void. That's intentional. You need to get out there and adventure a little and do some stuff. Collect 5 blaze spawners, use this force wrench to pick them up, bring them home, and maybe later you can turn them into a blaze farm and get some other fun stuff out of it. And go and do that, and that'll complete that challenge quite nicely. Yes! Incoming death hype! I love it. So that completes this episode. I've shown you the force wrench, how to get those blaze spawners. I've shown you my new engine room, and also how to make a basic AE system. A lot more awesome stuff to come. Thank you for watching. If you like this at all, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Be sure to check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/bacon_donut, and on Twitter as well. I'm active over there, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye! Bye, guys!